it's very good that we have this opportunity to educate everybody about our fundraising tools. And again, I'm not going to go into the specific features of the vendors and the kiosks. It's more about how they handle the money. And it's important that anybody who reses the kiosks understands how it happens in case anybody questions you about it. And so I'll kind of go through a few things about that. So part of the reason for our success over the last several years, and again, why we're going to hit $2 million by the end of this year, is the fact that the American Cancer Society pays close attention to what happens in Second Life. And we don't overlook it, and we understand that it is very important. We're talking about real people with real money that they need to reach the American Cancer Society. And so we're very serious about making sure that that happens, and that you, as the representatives of the American Cancer Society, never have your integrity called into question. So every off-season, we spend a lot of time under the hood to make sure that our fundraising tools, these are the kiosks, the vendors, random riots, auctions, basically all of the features that we offer to our teams are the things that you need, the things that you want, the ideas that you may have shared either, by participating in group chat. We're catching things, and we have a product roadmap. And every off season, we look and see what can we do that's going to give us the most return for the investment of time. And Dwayne has done an amazing job this year. And again, I'm not going into the features. We're going to save that for kickoff. I don't want to steal his thunder. But we also make sure that you can trust that the tools that we give you will handle the money from point A to point Z, so you never have to worry about that part of it. You just get to focus on putting on the event, and you know that you're going to get the credit, your team is going to get the credit for the money that your events raise. Over the years, we've evolved, and as I mentioned, Dwayne is leading the charge this year with our technology, and you can see we have a plethora of offerings, including event boards, which it's almost like Event Boards 3.0 this year. It's going to be really good. Even the registration of teams happening on the website, and then the management of your team, and some fun things that are going to come out from that. And then the communication between what happens in World and the website itself, and how fast we're able to report the results on your team totals pages. But anyway, let's talk about the kiosks and vendors. So the kiosks and vendors are set up to route the money directly through whoever reses it, through your account, and into the Relay for Life account. If you ever have done it, for those of you who haven't, what will happen is when you res it, it's going to ask you if it can take your money. You have to say yes, trust it, and it'll only take the money that comes through the kiosk. It's not going to siphon your Second Life balance. But no, it'll take the money, and then if anybody pays that kiosk, they'll see a message that says that they paid you. You'll see two messages. One message that says that you've been paid by that person, and then immediately after that, you just paid Relay for Life. We have a holding account avatar that we do not use, we don't log into, we don't touch it. It is strictly there as the account where the money goes. Then we go, and our finance department and I work together to do the process credits and have Linden Lab wire the money to us each year. So that way the money reaches the American Cancer Society and is then spent on the mission, and that goes to fund cancer research, or the things that I think Trader and Nuala are going to talk to you about later on, so you can understand what we do with the money that we do. And one of the questions that comes up each year is, we have representation from as many as 96 countries. And yes, the American Cancer Society does have as part of our mission to become the global leader in the fight against cancer. We don't obviously see cancer as just something that affects the United States. Even though we're the American Cancer Society, we do fight cancer, and we support many other cancer organizations around the world. And so the money that we go here will benefit the entire world to a degree. All right, so why do we do that? Why do we process the money this way? Why do we route it this way? Why do we also, when the money goes there, the kiosk and vendor also sends a message to an external database, and it's just informational, and then that's how we populate the team totals page. And why do we do this? Because you, the teams, deserve to see your fundraising totals. You deserve to be recognized for all of the lindens that you raise. And it needs to be done on the official Relay for Life of Second Life site. Again, if anybody asks you anything or questions, the fundraising tools that you have, one simple thing that you can always do is if you right-click and inspect the properties, if the creator is Relay for Life, then you know that it is an official kiosk. We don't want people to make duplicates. Bottom line is if it's not created by Relay, then we're not going to vouch for it. We're not going to stand behind it. We're not going to support it. We're not going to promote it. And that, again, is to protect you, the people who are doing the fundraising for Relay for Life, for the American Cancer Society. If you are ever brought into question, we know that you're using our tools, and we will stand behind you, and we'll tell whoever's questioning you that you are a legitimate fundraiser for the American Cancer Society. It's also to protect the donor. It isn't one side. It's also so that the donor feels comfortable. A lot of times we talk about every year, the idea comes up to redesign the look of the kiosks and vendors, and we go back and forth, and we end up staying with it because it's kind of a branding thing. By now, everybody knows these kiosks. I say everybody. It's a bit hyperbole, but we do make an effort to even communicate as part of our outreach that if you see this kiosk, if you see this design, you see this object, then you can trust that that's one of our deals. Now, if it's just a sign that says donate here, it's going to Relay, we can't vouch for that. We didn't build it, we didn't design it, we didn't script it. We don't know if we're getting that money or not. So I hope that makes sense. So it's to protect the donor as well. Like if you donate to something that's not our kiosk, not our vendor, then we cannot guarantee that we're going to get that money. So if you really want that money to reach the American Cancer Society, put it in one of our kiosks or on the Convio site. So that brings up the question of what happens if you encounter someone who's not using an approved fundraising device. I know the first instinct is to troll the event and destroy them. No, and the second instinct, and then react first, ask questions later, right? No, actually, our instinct is actually assume the best intentions. 9 times out of 10, it's somebody who really is doing it for the right reasons. They just don't know the process. Contrary to popular belief, not everybody in Second Life knows that in order to fundraise for Relay, we need to give them the right fundraising tools to do so. So most of the time over the years when we've encountered people, we would, we'll lurk a little bit first, kind of, check it out, what's going on around here, introduce ourselves to who seems to be in charge, and then just kind of talk to them about, hey, what are you doing? Like, what's going on here? Not the Spanish Inquisition here. It's more, hey, we're so happy that you want to fight cancer. We're happy that you want to join the Relay family. Let us help you do that. I see that you're raising money this way. It's a great fundraising idea. If you want to if you want us to be able to support you, then use this kiosk, use this vendor, use these tools, and then we can stand behind you if anybody asks and say that it's legit. Again, 9 times out of 10, they're more than happy that we reached out to them to provide them with the tools. I didn't know that that's what I needed to do. Thank you. And then they're now brought into the Relay family, and they become teams. I wonder, some of our new teams this year may have joined because of something like that. If we go after them aggressively because they're not using the right tools, we're just chasing off more people who want to contribute to the fight against cancer. So I want to make it clear that we're not asking anybody anywhere to be the fundraising police. We are not asking anybody to even do that process that I just explained. That's for me, Nikki, Serena, Dwayne, and the coaches, or to do. If you encounter something that you think is shady or that isn't on the up and up, then let us know, and we'll take it from there, because you never know what you're going to encounter, what kind of questions you're going to get, and it helps sometime when somebody from the committee or the chair or the co-chair is there to also let them know that, look, nobody's coming down on you. We just want to make sure that you're presenting yourself in the best light as well. Okay, so if they are raising money without the approved tools and they refuse to use the approved tools, then just to, again, let you all know how we would handle that. How we handle that is then we'll just say, okay, we can't force you to do that, but if you're not going to use our tools, then we're going to have to request that you don't use the name American Cancer Society, you don't use the name Relay for Life, you don't use any of our artwork or logos. You have to completely disassociate yourself, and at most you can say is just generic cancer research. And we're on the other side, we're not going to be able to support you. We're not going to tell anybody what you're doing. We're not going to stand behind it, and we're not going to legitimize it. And it's a fair compromise. Again, it's not an aggressive thing. It's not something that we're, drawing a line in the sand for them. If you ever decide that you want to use the tools, then yes, the door's always open. But if you refuse to use these tools, we cannot call you a Relay fundraiser. We just can't. That kind of steadfastness is what contributes to the integrity that we've built over the years with the fundraising tools that we have, and why you guys are so effective, part of the reason why you're so effective in your fundraising. And then finally, we don't do split profit events. We don't do, I think for anybody that is, like if somebody comes out and says, oh, let's do a joint benefit, or let's, I want to sell something and I'm going to give 50% of the proceeds to the American Cancer Society. Again, this is not necessarily black and white, but it is about 99%. We don't do that. There are rare occasions where the partnerships may be made based on whatever the circumstances are. But in those cases, that needs to be, the decision and the agreement needs to be made by chair, co-chairs, and staff partner, working directly with whoever it is that's making the offer. Like I said, over the years, and that's why I always want to say, I never say anything is finite, because you never know. Part of how we grow this event is our openness to new ideas, our openness to innovation and creativity. So, yeah, there are rare occasions where we may have to say, you know what, the value that we get out of doing something this way in year one is we bring more people to Relay. And then we work with them over the next, over the course of time to be fully in the loop where, the 100%, they're using the tools, and they're fully relaying like everybody else.